tonight, and I am making a couple of newborn swaddle blanket. The last video I showed a serger, 3-thread serger tip where before I washed these, I did a 3-thread overlock stitch just on the ends. I did not overlock the selvages because you don't need to. This has now been washed and dried, and I did calculate the shrinkage. This was 1.5 yards piece, which was 54 inches, and after shrinking I measured it to be 52 inches. And the second one had a little bit even more shrinkage. It measured at 51.25. So now I'm just going to trim off the ends to be square, even. And the general dimensions of the swaddle blanket is 50 inches by the width of the fabric, which is around 43. I'm not going to take the selvage ends off of this fabric. I'll just encase it in the hem, so it'll be fine. For a hemming tip, instead of going to your iron and struggling with pulling up small amounts and taking your ruler and making sure that it's exactly 1/2 inch, I sometimes like to do a baste stitch, or just a longer stitch. I've got my machine on a 3-inch wide stitch. It doesn't have to be super long baste stitch, because what you're going to do is sew this baste stitch at a 1/2 inch seam. That will make it very easy at the iron to fold up on that stitch line and press it. It's so much easier. And then you could go ahead and fold it on itself and get your double 1/2 inch fold for your seam. So I'm just going to finish this at 1/2 inch. Alright, and now I can go to the iron and easily just fold this up at the where I have sewn the line. It acts as a really nice guide, and then the fabric folds up right on the spot where you stitched. And then I'll go ahead and press up this other side. And then all we have to do after that is, on this side where I've already pressed it up, really just do a top stitch close to your fold, really close to your fold, all the way around, and then you're done. So I'll show that after I get the second side pressed up. Alright, so I'm at the pressing board, and I'm going up and turning up right on that stitch line, which is so easy, no measuring involved. And I'm taking my iron and I'm just pressing. And here is another tip. If you have one of these clappers, press it after you have ironed it, and it will make the crispest line. It will really set in that hem. So we'll do it. I'm at the last part right here. Let me give it a little bit of steam while it's still hot. The wood just kind of absorbs the steam, and it just keeps the heat in the fabric. And voila, you have a really nice line. And now it's really easy just to fold it up on itself like this and press it, fold it up on itself, press it, and then same thing. You just want to hold it there for a few seconds. Voila. So you just keep going down the line. When I get to the end of here and I have folded this and pressed it, then on the selvage edge, fold it up on itself. The selvage will act just like how that stitch did in your hem, and it's right around 1/2 inch. This is a swaddle blanket. It's going to be washed a million times, and it's really a functional item, so you don't have to go crazy and measuring to the 1/16 of an inch. It's pretty efficient if you can figure out really cool things, like a selvage edge is approximately 1/2 inch. Great, that works perfect with my double fold 1/2 inch seam. So I can press it there. I mean, it's just a time saver, and it actually is pretty accurate. And do this. Here's our corner. So when I'm done pressing up all the sides, we'll take it to the machine, and then we'll edge stitch or top stitch down. All right, we're back at the machine. I just put some wonder clips on here to keep the hem in place, and I am stitching a really close edge stitch to the fold here. And if you have one of these narrow feet, they're on the Juki machines, and also some of the vintage machines have this nice narrow foot. It's easy. You don't even have to put an edge stitch foot on. But if you don't, if you have something like a Brother, Baby Lock, Janome, they have edge stitch feet that have a little blade that the blade will run right next to this fold, and your needle will be right next to it, and you'll get a very nice even stitch all the way down. So either way, and even if you do have a Juki and you want to use an edge stitch foot, that's fine too. I just find that the this foot on this machine works really well. So I'll continue going around the edge. Okay, so I'm coming up to the first corner. The fabric is a little thick, so I just raise my presser foot to just slightly go over that. And then when I get to the spot where I'm going to do a little back stitch actually, and clip my threads, because you want to also enclose this edge so that it will not come apart when you wash it, or the baby's fingers won't get stuck inside that little hole. So I'll just restart this side right at that edge, and I'm going to do back stitch, make sure it's completely closed, and then it's the same thing down to the next corner. Alright, I'm coming up to the very end. Just about done with this swaddle blanket. then you can just clip the threads down. I used a contrast thread because I already had that color in my machine, and it actually coordinates with the little puppy dogs on here. Aren't they so cute? This is all cotton. I used cotton thread, and I pre-washed it and shrunk it, and it really didn't take hardly anything to make this. I used a few little efficient shortcuts on the hemming process, so I didn't even have to pull out a ruler to measure my double half-inch hem. And look, it turned out so nice. Here it is, the finished swaddle blanket, all folded up. Here's our beautiful corners, all secure. I went ahead, you don't have to do this, but I went ahead and just stitched the little corners closed as well. They're folded in and sewn over here, but now there's absolutely no worries. Throw it in the wash and dryer. Thanks for watching my quick tips on how to make a swaddle blanket. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.